She can't say. Then you're like, oh, yes. Yeah.
Motion like a railroad train now. Come on, baby, do the locomotion. Do it nice and easy now. Don't lose control. A little bit of rhythm and a lot of soul.
So we're going to say 1, 2, 3. Shh. Thank you. Awesome. So you guys, thank you for being here. It's great that Kathy can whistle like that. Who all is jealous? Because I would like to be able to whistle like that. And my whistle is maybe that's it. That's really sad, but that's it. So you guys, it's nice to have you here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here to pour into your business and into yourself. So we've got a full schedule. We've got Sam in the house. So yeah, or are you doing the Zoom thing?
I'm not.
Okay, good. Can you, oh, you didn't bring yours in. So when you have a minute, you guys give Raven, I mean, is she not awesome? Raven is amazing. Unless it's not ready for Owl. But do what you got to do right now. So
I constructed gratitude with I'm grateful for her.
yeah, right.
It's amazing.
So you guys, not only did she create the new slides, not only does she get all of you onboarded and helping and fielding, left field hits and things like that. I don't know how she does it all. But then it's like, oh, why don't we let's do this morning. And oh, by the way, there are 5 slides I need you to add in at 10:30. So that's how amazing Raven is. So great gratitude. Next, give me another gratitude. Nicole, go for it.
I was able to get my seller. We went on the market on the 20th, and he had surgery this morning. And I said to him, my goal is to get you under contract and through due diligence before you go on surgery, and I did it.
Yeah. Look at Raven. She's not. I know she's not. I didn't get it. Yeah, it's good. She's like watching out for your eyeballs because I can take an eyeball out with one of those kisses. So good job. Give me one more. What are you grateful for today? Like truly grateful. Health.
Amen.
Yeah.
I got COVID, it knocked me on my butt, and you just take your health.
Was that the first? That wasn't your first time with COVID. Alka, you said everyone.
Yeah, I've had it.
Not Alka.
What I think was COVID. It's legit. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're glad to see you, Cynthia.
Yeah, and I'm COVID free. I have taken this.
Disclaimer. Disclose. Yeah.
Sniffling, that is called allergies.
There you go. It does kick your butt, doesn't it? Well done. I will say I'm truly grateful. Scott and I snuck up to Nashville over the weekend, and we saw our little Grace and Nico. And so this little Nana is quite happy because before Nico couldn't get out of the car seat fast enough. And you know, you always wonder when your grandkids are someplace else, will they remember who you are? And so, you know, it's always like, well, he does know it's Nana. He did before they couldn't get him out of this car seat. And then I'm like, didn't say puppy, did he? So I'm grateful for that. All right, let's get going. How about this lunch? What do you guys think? Good lunch, yeah. So Ronnie, come on up and spend just a few minutes with us and tell us a little bit about Global Benefits Partners and how does that, you know, how does that help us, and tell us what you want us to hear.
Can I do that?
Yes.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Ronnie Suleimani. I am the owner of Global Benefits Partners. The website is oraben.com. So for the last 5 years, you've known that I've been trying to find affordable health care for 1099 and real estate agents in the Southeast region. So Southeast region, Florida, Pennsylvania. So what we did now this year, and if you go on to the KW Southeast or oraben.com, you now have 3 solutions for healthcare. You have health share option, major medical, and limited medical benefit plans. These are far less than you will find on the ACA or private insurance. I don't know if we have access to the site. We do. Oh, you're better than I
See,
am.
to see where
Thank you.
Raven is so good.
So if you can just go down, hit plans. So there are the options for major medical. Let's just go to the health share. Now, anyone here know about health share? Anyone heard of health share? Anyone on health share? Okay, so it's all about really education. What health share is are non-for-profit organizations that do what insurance companies do. They pool the money together, and if someone has a claim, they pay the claim out of that pool. So what 2 things that's great about health share: A, they're non-for-profit organizations, so they pay less in taxes. Number 2, they also keep their expenses low, which then correlate to your premium. So let's just go to 50-year-old to 64, $2,500 IUA. That means should you have a bill that's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, your max out of pocket for that occurrence is $2,500. $2,500. If you go on to the ACA, the minimum deductible you will have is
Sorry, what
$5,000.
is ACA, Ronnie?
ACA is Affordable Care Act.
Thank you.
That's Obamacare. So for a 50-year-old family of 3 or 4 or 7, you're only paying $1,000 a month with 0 deductible. So that ACA, yeah, see, that's a good reaction. When the eyes go up like that, that's a good reaction. So on the ACA, Affordable Care Act, the same plan like that will cost a family of 4 well over $2,400. Now, is there a limit? Is there an annual limit on this plan? No. We had a claim, unfortunately, for $612,000. A Keller Williams agent in California was on vacation in Hawaii with her family. Now, unfortunately, her 14-year-old daughter is type 1 diabetic. She was in ICU for 3 days. $612,000 bill. Her max out of pocket was $2,500 because that's the plan that she had. So health share is a great option for 1099 contractors and business owners. Now, if you can just go up to the major medical. Thank you. Now, some people who are not comfortable, explore. Thank you. You have 12 other options that you want. If you want major medical options. Now, the most important thing of all these options is the network. Who here likes changing doctors?
Nobody.
Exactly. Nobody likes changing doctors. So both of these plans, all these plans are on a nationwide PPO network. You can go in network and out of network. It doesn't matter if you're in Atlanta, you're in Boston, you're in Dallas, or you're in Boca. You have access to doctors, urgent care and specialists anywhere in the country. So what's the difference between these plans here? It's all about the deductible. What are you comfortable with? How much liability you're willing to take on for you and your family? I would say the 5,000 and the 7350 are the most popular. Who here knows about HSA, health savings accounts? Okay, If we scroll up here, you have 3 options for health savings accounts as well. So anyone who's looking to change or is unhappy with the current coverage they have, you can reach us. All you have to do is go to the top of the site, book a consultation, and then it falls into either my calendar or one of my advisors' calendars. Now, there's also dental, vision, disability, and life insurance. So what we continue to put together is an entire benefits package. As if you were going to Google, Microsoft, IBM, you have a benefits package, which again, you're the only real estate company that has this. No one else has this. Some have health insurance, but you have to be a W-2. Now, this is for also, some of you might have teams and you might have admin that you want to provide health insurance for. You can do that too. You do not need an EIN number. The previous plans that you were offered, you had to have an EIN number. You had to be incorporated. This you don't. So I want to be respectful of your time. Any quick questions?
Bill, enrollment is coming up. This is really important. Deborah, thank you so much for arranging Ronnie to come in. Everybody give Deborah a hand. Thank you so much. Ronnie, thank you for lunch and y'all, this is too important to ignore. So hopefully you've seen some good options that you may want to explore. Ronnie, thank you so much. Hang out as
Thank
long
you.
as you'd like. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So good. Thank you, Jay. Nice to see you. And Robert, right?
Yes.
Nice to see you. All right, you guys, here we go. Onward. Come on up, Tammy. Yeah. Good morning. Okay, stop. I won't. Stop. All right.
Hey, guys, so just a couple quick announcements. As you know, the market is extremely volatile. I've actually had 2 pricing changes as of this morning. So if you guys have a contract and it's been negotiated or ratified, please be sure to get that to your lenders to make sure they secure your buyer's rates. But we also wanted to chat, is everybody here on list reports? For most part? Okay, but some of the. I don't
Who
see
is
everybody.
it?
Yeah,
Who's
who's
not on this reports? Raise your hands high if you're not on this.
Maybe
report.
right, because I'm talking directly to you. All right, what do agents get with list reports? Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So you'll get free fresh daily market content local. So that'll be to the market that you guys are in. It's specialized towards you, helps with your social media. So a lot of times if you're looking for content, it's right on there. If you work with Canva, you can do it with your colors. So all of that, so you can keep your brand. They do a daily list report, which gives you notables and shareables. So it's in your inbox every single morning. You'll get 3 articles, which will contain your market, the financial, as well as new home decor. So it's kind of fun and lighthearted if you guys want to post some stuff and not so intense in regards to the rates. You can build your brand with ease, like I mentioned, use our content, however, use your colors. Listing shareables promotes your listings as well. So if you pair with us, you can also unlock additional templates as well. The marketing kits are amazing. So if you've got a listing agreement, I know Tracy's on. So if you guys have a listing that goes live, you guys can go on there and prepare your own marketing kit, which also will allow you to talk about the specific property, schools, the area, the restaurants, outdoor activities. I mean, there's so much data on here for you guys. There's over 750 images, which is the shareables themselves. And like I said, they range from all different types of content for you. Talking points, you get your weekly newsletter, property search for buyers, single market website, just sold property websites, and text to lead capture with QR codes. A lot of stuff.
Wow.
So everyone should be on it. If you'd love to partner with Kathy or I, just let us know and we'll get you guys started immediately.
Yeah,
You good?
and this is no charge to them, yes?
Free.
See?
Our
So,
favorite more letter.
And if you're not printing this stuff out for your listing presentations, the longer, and we know this, right? The longer we can keep a buyer in a house when they're showing, the more comfortable they feel in that. We all know that listed houses. So why not get this in the listing presentation so people will take the time to look at this school information and restaurant information and things like that, right there.
Everything. You can do postcards. I mean, there's so much data.
Everything.
And it's free. You're right. I love it. Thank you, guys.
right, did you notice that she didn't dwell on the interest rate and she like did the value add, well done, well done. All right, Kurt, come on up, tell us what's happening in the legal world. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
I'm Karen Schwartz with O'Kelly and Sorahan. So the two most common questions that I get post-closing, after we've already signed all the documents, are about temporary occupancy and seller's disclosure. So this morning, I just want to talk about temporary occupancy where the seller is going to stay in the property after closing. So what the parties agreed to is that this temporary occupancy exhibit, which you're going to use if you do temporary occupancy, I'm going to caution you about using it. They agree that this survives the closing. So that's going to control if there's damage to the property, what's going to happen. You're going to put in there how many days. You cannot use this for more than 60 days, okay? If the buyer's getting a loan, the lender is going to have them sign something closing. They're going to take possession of the property within 60 days of closing. That's a requirement of the loan. And even on cash, if it's going to be longer than that, they really need to do some sort of lease. So 60 days or less, the seller is going to keep the utilities in their name. The buyer is going to ensure that they will have access to through the HOA for any common elements that they can still access. The really tricky part is insurance. Okay, so their homeowner's policy, I'm not an insurance agent. I do not do insurance. So they need to talk to their insurance agent about converting their policy so that they have like a renter's policy with content.
Which one is that?
The seller, because the buyer's insurance is going to kick in for the building and the structure and all of that. But the contents are not going to be covered because they know the seller no longer owns the property. They need to talk to their insurance agent about doing that and making sure that their personal property is insured. The thing that I think a lot of people don't realize that they changed a few years ago in the GAR forms is the buyer's still going to have access to the property. So they can do repairs, they can inspect, they can prepare for their possession. There's times in that Monday through Friday and then Sunday, 1 to 6 or something like that. 1 to 6 on Sundays, 9 to 8 during the week. So they can give notice 24 hours and go in and do that. And that for emergency repairs and that kind of thing, they're going to have immediate access to do that. And then holdover. So what that means is if the seller doesn't get out, say you have 30 days temporary occupancy and at day 31, the seller's still in there, is the seller going to pay something to the buyer, owe something to the buyer, $100 a day or whatever it is. So a common question that I get is what happens, right, if there's a dispute over the condition of the property after the temporary occupancy or a holdover. The remedy for the buyer is to sue them in magistrate court. Okay, so they need to make sure that they read this, understand if there is a suit over this, the losing party has to pay the other party's fees, including attorney's fees. The seller has to give the buyer 1 key and then they get the rest at possession. Okay, so I think a lot of times, when I'm getting questions about this, like really talk it through with the other side, right? If you end up doing it, and I understand that there are reasons that sometimes you just have to do it for whatever the seller's situation is. But so that the parties are in communication and on the same page about what's going to happen. If the seller gets out early, it says in there, they'll notify the buyer, so the buyer can go ahead and take possession. But I get calls on that as the closing attorney. We represent the lender. First of all, I'm not a litigator, so I don't litigate these things anymore, thank goodness. But I represent the lender, so I can't get involved in that dispute. And I'm often asked about holding money for a final walkthrough and all that. So the parties need to handle that between themselves. You might want to take it into effect into the seller paid closing cost maybe, or, you know, putting some provision in there otherwise, but we do not hold earnest money for earnest money. Hold back escrow money for temporary occupants.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
If the buyer asks for a deposit, what happens to that money? Is that money made out to, the buyer asks for a deposit from the seller, this temporary occupancy, because I've had it happen. So, and who does the seller pay that deposit to?
Depends on what your contract says, right? But don't say this, we don't hold money for that. Sometimes I've seen people do, you know, do a certified check. Maybe one of the agents holds it until possession, but really for y'all, once it's closed, I mean, that's between the two of them.
Is there, basically, what Jan, I think is asking, I'd like to know too, is there a solution of a non-biased party that's holding it? Is there a solution for it, or no?
We're not gonna hold it.
I know
Yeah.
that, I know
Yeah.
that.
Not really, and because that's in part of the reason that because I'm not arbiter of that, right? So that's up to really their remedy is magistrate court.
Okay.
There are some attorneys that will hold those funds, right? There are some attorneys. Remember, lender has to approve that escrow, that attorney creates that escrow agreement for that. And the lender has to approve that escrow agreement if that attorney is gonna hold it. So you gotta really know, yes.
And yes,
You have to really know that closing attorney to make sure that that's distribution. No, I'm
Yes.
talking about deposit, I'm
And-
talking about additional deposit.
and if you're doing a, rent back so much a day,
Right.
sometimes the lender will allow us to put that on the settlement statement and sometimes they will not. So another way to do that is perhaps like a contribution and closing costs.
You wanted to say something, Julie?
I just had a quick comment, on the temporary occupancy form. It really exists between the buyer and the seller. And after you have closed on the home, that piece of paper really exists between the buyer and the seller, not
us.
you or the listing agent or anybody else. So my suggestion would be that any deposits that you're putting that are related to that form go directly from the buyer to the seller, and that they deal directly, because after the closing, it's gonna be just the two of them dealing with each other,
Yeah,
not the agents.
exactly. And still do a walkthrough. Because you want to know the condition at the time of the closing before you close. Yes, and then you do when you take occupancy.
And if you are gonna use an attorney that will hold that, you better know that attorney.
You know, that's right.
And there's usually a fee attached to that, just so you know, I do escrow holdbacks for
Mhm.
other things, and if they hold the money back for a reason, they charge you.
They
for
charge
it.
a fee.
Not current, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Karen.
All right, thank you, Karen. Everybody get some. All right, bye, Jenny. All right, so a couple of other things that we don't have 210 home warranty here, but y'all know Kelly always says with 210 home warranty, you get her to help escalate those issues. You guys, how many of you are actually giving gng.com/GNG Hub, that resource to your clients? Only one agent is raising two, right? 3, 4, 5, couple of you. This will actually save your clients money. It's pretty significant when you look at the third rate. Yeah, Deborah?
I have a whole email that gives GNG, and it gives my insurance people, and it covers everything, my ADT person. it
Such
gives
a great
all kinds of
idea.
stuff. So that helps them a lot, and.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share it, Deborah?
But yeah, but those, they may be her specific vendors, but you two talk, that is such a good value add. You are the resource for everybody. Yeah, yeah. All right, buy before you sell, Up Equity, come on, tell us a little bit, just say a little quick thing on what Up Equity is. And I understand you guys had a good class.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to talk about. I wanted to thank those of you who joined that class that we did, the how to buy before you sell class that we did with Onward last week. I got very good feedback on that class. I thought it was sounds like it was very informative. Touched on the things that you guys wanted to know. Was that recorded, Raven? Like, do you know?
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, if it was recorded, and I know you guys are busy, you got a spare hour. I highly recommend that you guys and you want to understand more about this program, I highly recommend that you guys take a look at that recording. There was a lot of questions. I think it probably touched on everything that you guys would have questions about. Obviously, you can always call me if you have additional questions. Want to thank you for your business, closing another one today. Thank you guys for trusting your clients with us.
Thank you, Derek. Right now, all right, printing, marketing, design, you guys remember Diane Endeavors is our printing and design company. You get super deep discounts with that, so I know that y'all are taking advantage of that. We've got execute your monthly mailer. There's a class this afternoon between 1 and 2 with Robin to show you how to do that. And tools to run your business. All of these are linked, you guys, so that you know what to do, where to go. Porch.com for repair estimates, ProMove for apartments, people that aren't quite ready to do something. We also have some upcoming classes. You've got calendars. Who does not have a calendar that might need one? All right, good. So these are the classes that we have coming up. We've got Instagram Your Biz coming up this Friday. I think that's going to be really good with Tara. And first time home buyer survival guide with Onward. I think that's going to be really great with the new agent boot camp. You guys, we've got Chart Masters coming up. Mark your calendars. October 24th. How many of you do not know what Chart Masters is? Chart Masters is a company that we contract with. They are basically statisticians. So what they do is they aggregate the information from FMLS and they actually put it in editable formats for you. So that if you're honing in on a specific area, then you can actually put that area in and it will generate so much detailed information that you can slide into your listing presentation, because logic makes us think and emotions make us act. So logic, providing that data to your sellers to help them with that, and Chart Masters literally will aggregate that data for you and help and give it to you in a format that you can manipulate that, not in a bad way, but put it in the format that you need to, and then kick it back out to your sellers. Not only do they do that for you and you have full access to that, but then Andy and Leslie come along and they say, hey, this is how we use these stats. This is how we talk about that information. And it's really helpful because they're boots on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. So mark your calendars for Chart Masters. How many of you started Ignite this month? Not too, we got one. Okay, nice job. All right, Bold.
Robin.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's Chart Masters, I couldn't see it.
It's gonna be up at, it's always up at Forsyth Conference Center. That seems to be the best place for them because the audio visual, it's just all sort of dialed in there. So it's pretty easy for them to do that, plus record and do Facebook Live and things like that. Okay, Bold is coming up. Y'all know, we've talked so much about Bold. It's coming up. Please click to register for your first step. It's free. You're going to get coaching all day long. Affiliated business disclosure. Who's getting those ABADs in? When do we get them signed? Adam, when do we get them signed?
As soon as I'm.
Such a great answer. All right. TCPA, if you are calling FSBOs and expired, you guys, I just noticed on Sunday morning when I pulled, was it Saturday morning? No, Sunday morning, I pulled all the stats Sunday morning. Do you know how many, did you guys see on the daily stats, how many expired and withdrawn there were at the end of the month? Anybody notice that? I mean, it was something like 274 in one day. 274 opportunities, if that's what you do, if that's your gig. You had 247 people you could talk to about relisting their home. So of course, do it by the TCPA. All right, this week's update. Sellers are still getting 98.8% of their price. Average days on market is 25. That may change when FMLS updates their average days on market. 2.3 months of supply. Average is 3.3 over in the US. Atlanta is 2.3. I think that when we pull all of September's, when FMLS releases the September numbers, which will be this week, I think that 2.3 may go up to 2.5 or 2.6. So we'll see. Distressed sales are still 0.6%, and I think that's going to go up to about 8%. Interest rate is 7.7. Average 30-year history is 7.02. This is what was today's market. So today's market, what happened in the last 24 hours in the Metro Atlanta? These are the counties that represents. Because you can pull FMLS, and you doing all of the FMLS area, that works for you because of how broad your range is, but that might not work for you, Jake. You may not be going all the way down over to Columbus, right? So, so this works really well for those counties. We had 92 withdrawn and expired. Look at this, 10,265.
It's been hovering there for a couple of weeks now.
It has been hovering for a couple of weeks. Now, here's what's interesting. Anybody listen to Keeping Current Matters? Yeah. So what's really interesting about what Keeping Current Matters was talking about is that they've never seen that much inventory in the month of August. Because traditionally, isn't the month of August really low in inventory, right? It's usually low.
Right on the heels of July, which is one of the busiest months of the year.
And here you go. So, so we are seeing this, we don't like this, but I sure like that. And buyer demand is still very high, right? So, we're gonna talk, we got Sam in the house. In Facebook, Sam said that was the obligatory getting on the airplane.
Yeah.
So he said, can we change that? So, before we do that, Sam, I want to run through those numbers and then we'll go back to the others, right? So, because we're going to use these. I got several text messages after Sam did his text message, his golden text last month. Got so many screenshots from you agents that were sending out the golden text where appointments were being set. Steve Menenti got something like 6 or 7 appointments out of one day of texting some really good probing questions. 6 appointments. If he only converts one of those at an average of 500,000, he just made $15,000 because he sent out a bunch of text. Right? So, so we're going to talk about that. Get your phones out in a few minutes because you're going to go through that. I want to go through these because what's really interesting is the headlines are telling your sellers and buyers now is not the time to sell. Buyers, now is not the time to buy. But do we know if do houses appreciate every year or do they depreciate every year?
Appreciate it.
So is now a good time to buy a house? Right, better today than yesterday, right? So here's what's interesting. And the reason why I'm pulling these up now is because I want you to get your phones. When we start doing some sending out text, I want you to come up here and take pictures of this because we're going to ask some probing questions. So let's just look at it before you start sending anything out after Sam starts talking, because 68.7% have paid off their mortgage or have at least 50% of their equity. Wow. Mortgaged homes with 30 to 50%, 20.8%. mortgaged homes with 10 to 30%, 8.6%. Mortgaged homes with 0.9% is 1.72. Owns the home free and clear, 38.7%. Now, don't we always tell our clients that they should own investment properties? But what is the average savings account? For the average American, what is the average savings account the amount that they have in their savings account? Anybody know?
$1,000.
400.
I guess I was being generous.
400 is a grocery bill for a family of 4. Y'all hear that? So if you have somebody who wants to buy investment property, where are they going to get that money from? Their home. This is why generational wealth is built by owning homes, because when you own your home, your children usually own their homes, right? And do you know how many out of the first-time home buyers, what the percentage is that got their money from their parents? Almost 50%. Why not? Why not? As parents, don't we want to leave a generational wealth? Yeah, right? So when you're talking to your people and you've got 38.7% of them own their own home, guys, owns the home free and clear, they have equity. That's how they can buy those investment properties. And who do you think should represent them?
Me. I'm like,
Every one of you should have said me. Every single one of you should say me, right? All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And the other, we talked to Ed Mastermind, one of the masterminds last week. I talked about inflation and 30-year fixed rate. You guys, what's really interesting is that when you look at inflation and you look at the core price index, so this is right here is CPI. This is your inflation numbers. And your green is your 30-year fixed rate. This goes all the way back for those that can't see like me, I'm half blind, 1972. So when we look back into all of the inflations, look at here we are at the 80s, here we are in 1982 when inflation was crazy. And 30-year fixed rates were crazy. There's always a lag with inflation. We don't know where mortgage is going to go. We don't know where mortgage rates are going to go. I was a dummy new agent and predicted mortgage rates. Never do that again, right? Oh, no, we won't go down. We won't ever be in the 5s again. And 3 months later, it was 5%. Oh, no. Yep, don't be stupid, right? So, but we can look at some indicators of where the mortgage rate's going. So as inflation comes down, which it will, then mortgage rates are expected by how much? We don't know. How many of you would love to be in the 6s again? Right? Because it even sounds better than 7. 7% is like, right? So when you look at this, while inventory continues to be in short supply, August witnessed an unusual uptick in newly listed homes compared to July, hopefully signaling a return in seller activity heading toward the fall season, which typically is the best time to buy a home. Fall is truly the best time to buy the home, but we've all said it's in the spring, right? The spring market, fall's numbers are always higher than spring's. So here's what today's homeowners are staying in their homes for an average of 9+ years. We were always taught 3 to 5 and then 5 to 7. Now it's 9+. Okay, so right now between 2010 and 2022, it's at 9.3 years. Before it was 6.1. So sure, 5 to 7.
So what do you think the prediction is gonna be a couple of years from now, you know, with all these people that got these 2% and 3% interest rates? So you think that's gonna increase substantially? Or
That what will increase inventory?
the time in their homes?
Oh, I think it's definitely gonna make it longer. Yeah, definitely longer. And this is why the equity angle is the way to go. Because when else in history have we had interest rates at 2% and 3%? Does anybody think we'll be at 3% again in our lifetime? I mean, it would be amazing if it did. but nobody in this room even thinks it will be. So when else have we seen that much equity for that cheap of a money?
And that's soon, that's soon. You know, I've got people that have $50,000 and $100,000. I have $125,000 in equity gain in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, most people had a 50% equity gain.
Yeah.
Just from 2021 to 2022. It's crazy. These are the unicorn years. So when we look at this, single family housing units completed, this speaks to inventory. You guys know, you've heard me say it enough times. Why don't we have enough inventory?
The builders aren't keeping up.
For years, they weren't building.
Well, they
Yeah.
didn't build from 2008 to 2017.
They've got
a long way to catch up. Remember all of the abandoned neighborhoods that we would drive by and it's like there were 3 houses and then there are just empty lots with weeds and everything growing up because the builder went belly up. Right? Because in 2005 and 2006 and 2007, man, they're giving letters of credit like crazy. These builders were building, they do 5 model homes in a row, right?
Yeah,
What-
that's all like
who loved
10
it?
homes at a time.
Oh, yeah, going into I'd go to the model homes just to see the decorations, 3, 4, 5 right at a time. Now you're lucky to get a model home. Well, now you get, but for a while, there weren't even any model homes. Remember, there weren't even any model homes after that. And so many of them went belly up. Am I right, Carla? 30 years of new construction.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So what's happening now? What's interesting is when we look, these are the average units completed. It goes all the way back to 1970. Now we dropped in 2000, about 2008, when the crash happened. Did the crash cause the housing recession or did the recession cause the housing crash? The housing crash caused the recession, right? Didn't take us very long to get out of that, by the way. So at 2008, 14 straight years below 52-year average. We were 14 years behind the average for buildings.
And we've still not caught up.
And we're still not caught up. And so when we look at this average units completed, we're getting there. They're making up. Now, will it make up enough for buyer demand? Because we have such amazing buyer demand right now. So this is why those 10,200 plus homes being on the market, love it, right? I love that. All right, so these picture slides, because Sam is going to talk a little bit about golden text and golden letters. I want you to just, we're going to talk about this. There are some other things that he's going to use, but graphics and getting people thinking about their own situation rather than so ethereal, so out there that it's like, oh, no, get them talking and thinking about their own situation. Logic makes us think, emotions make us act. What can you do with at least 50% of equity? What would that do for your family if you bought an investment property and had, $300 or $400 a month coming in and passive income? What would that do for your family? What would that do for you? Right? Okay, I turn it over to the amazing Sam. Everybody, let's give Sam. Let's do that. Here you go.
I'm gonna leave this up to start, if that's okay. Thank you. Raven's behind right here. She's like, yeah.
She's amazing.
I want y'all to take a picture of this because we're gonna go ahead and send this to start since it's already up.
Come on up, take a picture if you need to.
Yeah. I'll
Get out of your chairs, come on up, get a good one. And if we need to turn the lights off so there's no glare, just do what you need to do.
And for those of you that has some reservations and you're like, I'll do it later, that's okay. These are gonna be emailed to you. So I understand that, like, if you need to get some buy-in on what we're doing, I'll get to that, don't worry. But for those of you who've worked with me and my last email, we're gonna do with this, we're gonna turn in some gold. We're going to do a listing appointment today. All right, so we're gonna send out our first text message. we're going to take that photo that you just grabbed. And we're going to send it to somebody in our database, somebody with the name R for Raven.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Right. All right, I'm feeling the love today, guys. You guys.
Don't overcommit, Raven.
So if you're new to this, what we're gonna do is I would like you to scroll to your contacts. Yes, we're actually going to text somebody today. We're gonna scroll to your contacts. We're gonna go to R for Raven. And I don't want there to be any biases. I want you to just grab whoever, and like your phone could be first name or last name R, I don't know here. But go to
My
your
name
Rs.
is R. Robin. I'll probably get a whole bunch from you.
Please, but since there's somebody other than Robin.
Yes,
the
please,
goal
thank
here is
you.
that we want listing appointments.
Really don't want to.
I want you to attach this photo and the text message that's gonna go with it. We're just gonna ask a question. When was the last time you looked into your home equity? A nice open-ended question that is an indirect offer to take a look at that. When was the last time you looked into your home's equity?
Looked into or looked at?
Either one. I really pulled it out of my rear end on the fly here today. We all prepared the comments before, so. But we're asking that question, when was the last time you just looked at your equity? And you can pick whatever tendency you want there for that one. And we're gonna send that to everyone in your database, or at least pick 5 people that have a first name or last name that begins with the letter R.
And that no has.
No
Yes, what if
biases.
they don't?
Yeah, no biases.
What would it hurt if you sent it to them and they said, I don't have a home yet? Sounds like we should talk.
I'm sitting out. You guys are good at this.
I mean, it's
Yeah, that's.
It's totally okay.
You have to remove the biases from these, right? Like, we know it all too often, and that's the number one thing that stops us from reaching out to people. Send it anyways. What do you have to lose? All right, and as you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up the old presentation and go through the parts that I need to go through.
I'm gonna go get my phone so I can read to you what Steve sent.
All right. Everyone's sending that out, or I've sent it out to 50 people. It should be really easy. Once you send it once, you should copy and paste it to everyone else. It makes it really, really easy. But while you have your phones out and we're waiting for that first batch of responses to come in. What I'd like to do is actually want you to go to your contacts, and I want you to tell me what is the total number of contacts you have inside of your phone.
The phone?
Yeah, in your phone. Total number of contacts you have in your phone. If you have an iPhone, that's at the very bottom of the list. If you click like the Z on the right-hand side with the alphabet, it's underneath that. If you have an Android, I think it shows right at the top, but I'm looking for the total number of contacts you have in your phone. Well, how many was that, Jan?
10,671.
2,671?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know how that happened.
I love that number. We're gonna run with that one. What else? Give me some numbers.
I got 2633.
2633, okay.
5785.
5785. Okay, what else? How many contacts do you have? Write that down. All right, if y'all just want to be shy, at least write it down, okay? Because we're gonna go through some math here.
I'll give you mine, it's below 1,000.
Is below 1,000?
Yeah, 655.
655, okay.
Oh, 3241.
3241. Did anyone beat Jan? She is over 10,000?
I don't look to.
I don't either.
Oh, we're gonna change that.
Not my phone.
Yeah, we're gonna change that. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I want you to pull out some paper here because we're gonna do some math, and this is gonna be a little bit tricky sometimes. So you're gonna give yourself some space here. I want you to take that total number of contacts you have, and I want you to divide it by 2. And then for the sake of Jan, what's your number there? I'm gonna write yours.
53, 25, 25,
53.
25.
25. Okay. So everyone should have a new number. So this is your total number of contacts, and we're dividing it in half. And then I want you to take that number and let's divide it by 9.
9 months later.
I'll explain it in the end. Nicole, you gotta trust me. You know how to trust
Slow
me.
down, Nicole.
591.72.
Submit.
591.72. Okay, and then what's the average commission check in this office? Are we like 15,000?
Yeah.
15,000 roughly?
Number of contacts divided by 2. And make that number divided by
So we're
9.
taking,
Yeah, I'll recap that. Total number of contacts, whatever that is for you, divide that by 2. That's gonna give you half of your total number of contacts. We're gonna take that number and divide it by 9. And then this new number we get, go ahead and circle that one. We'll just make that our circle number. And then when you take that number and multiply it by 15,000. Man, that's a big number. What's that number?
8,875,000.
I want Jan's thing, I'm like.
Can I just say 8.8?
8.8.
8.8?
Dinner on Jan.
8.9.
Okay.
She's a decamillionaire.
I want everyone else's number. Let's go ahead and shout these out for the, so those of you who've shared your total number of contacts, what was your number?
I was 3,030,000.
3 million, okay.
1 million. 4.8 million.
1 million, 4.8,
What was your name?
545,833.
545, okay.
2,700,000.
What was that again?
2,700,000.
2,700,000.
I need to change mine because it's 266. Okay.
You just add one person to your phone, Cicely.
Round up.
All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to put a dollar sign in front of that number, and I really want you to like fall in love with that number. That's the amount of money that's available inside of your phone today without adding a single lead to your database. That's the amount of people who are going to move in your phone this year. Let me explain the math so this is actually tangible. We took your total number of contacts, whatever that number is for you, and we divided by 2. And the joke I always share here is, let's just assume that the majority of your phone is Pizza Hut and ex-lovers. They're people you're never going to do business with, and we're just gonna throw half of them away. For me, a lot more Pizza Hut than it was ex-lovers, but you have bad contacts inside of your phones that like, we're just not going to do business with, okay? So if I were to say like, hey, Sam, I'm not gonna put these in command, okay, let's just agree that half of them are bad, okay? Then we took that number and we divided by 9. What's the significance of number 9?
Number of years of staying.
Exactly, we just learned, yeah, that's the average that they're staying inside their homes.
You're
That tells us- Yeah, so that tells us then that this number here, the number that we got, and I use Jan's number, this is the total number of people who are going to statistically move inside of her phone this year.
So she got what, 77 or 500?
591.
So I got 77 funny clients.
77 people are gonna move inside of your phone, whether you call them or not.
And they may not be in your database, but they're in Zilla's.
Then we just take that number that we circled, so this number that we circled is just the amount of closings available inside of your phone. We multiplied it by your average commission, or the average commissions at the market center, which is 15,000, that's where we're getting this big light, like, what would you do with 8 million, Jan?
A lot. Retire.
What would you do with 8 million every year? Because if we have like these touches in place, and we're reaching out to our database, then that's how we get there, right? Now, I'm gonna go on a sidebar, because like the goal, and I had this conversation with Robin, when she asked me to do this, I was like, man, I'm really worried about cannibalizing this class. I don't want to do this too often, because I want to make it special. So I want to add some new analogies and material with you, if that's okay. Why do fish school into a group of other fish? Why do birds stick into a flock? Why does zebra get together inside of a herd? How does that work?
Safety and
Safety in numbers, meaning that it's really difficult to pick out an individual when you're part of a big group. Now, the challenge is that we accidentally create that for ourselves with a really big database. So the reason why Jan probably hasn't made 8 million is not no fault of Jan. It's because how the hell do you sort through 10,000 people and find the 5,000 that are going to move? So when we started off this class with the text, there was a reservation of like, oh, I know something about this person, so I'm not going to reach out to them. We all have those biases. What we're doing is we're creating that school of fish that we can't pick off. The goal here is that like, I want you to look at your database like you are a ferocious, hungry lion, and we're just trying to find the weakest zebra that we can pick off. Got there looking like I have 9 heads. Did not stick. I felt good about that one. Darn it. I practice these in front of the mirror every time before I do them. That one didn't stick. But the goal here is that we gotta be able to like remove that safety numbers within our own database and find the people that are likely to move. And there's 2 ways to do this. You can get really serious about tagging your database, or you get really serious about just calling or texting everybody. And I'm gonna choose that latter option today, but I'm gonna give you random letters that I want you to select, and we're gonna go through, and we're gonna text, and I want you to do it, because we're gonna be able to pick off some winged zebras or some like floppy fish that are there.
Yeah.
All right, now,
Hey, Sam, could you put up that equity slide again? And also Lydia had asked, what was the question that you were supposed to text?
Yes, so my equity slide, let me see if I can pull it back up again. I think that's up again. And the question here is, when was the last time you thought about your equity? Or when was the last time you looked into your home equity?
Okay, so Steve Menenti did this last month. And this is what his first one was. Hi, Brian, how have you been? You've had your home a while now. Any chance you've been thinking of selling anytime soon? We still have a big shortage of listings in the market and buyers are lined up. Let me know if it's worth talking through your home's equity. Steve Menenti. Hey, Steve, great to hear from you. We were hoping to move next year. So yes, definitely interested in discussing our home equity. And the next one, he asks, awesome. I know you have a growing family and likely need more space, I bet. Let me prepare a POV for you, but I'll need to know if you've made any significant updates or modifications to the home since you bought it. Any big ticket items worth mentioning? Yes, remodeled kitchen, installed new AC unit and new floors, appliance as well, dishwasher, stove and microwave. Nice, I'll need to come see it, then give the best view on the home value, but send me some pics of those updates when you get a chance. It'll give me a head start. Will do. That was just one of them. Then he sends another one and he says the same thing, same exact thing. You've been thinking about selling your home lately? Doing good, thanks. Quite not ready to sell now. Dread moving. Actually, I wanted to give you a call to discuss investing in real estate. Let me know when available to chat. These are actual screenshots.
Wow. Could you send those to us? Could you show this with us? Yeah,
Well, I like.
I mean, even the rebuttals were.
Personalize it versus that first out the door.
Well, just personalize the first one, because we went in his class where I didn't like the boom, because I don't like, if you haven't talked to me in a while and you don't address me in a hello, some kind of pleasantry, I'm thinking you're rude. So just address and say, hey, whatever, and then do the actual.
Yeah.
Again, don't get bogged down. Yes, I will go ahead and send those to Raven so she can put them in the slides when she sends out or attach it to the email so that you guys have screenshots for that. But who cares? It doesn't matter. Touching matters. Go for it, Sam. Just wanted to give that encouragement.
Now I have like the
It
Sweet Caroline
works.
song in my head, like. I mean, touching matter, like, Steve could have literally sent anything, like, not to belittle like the value of the message, but like, the whole point is you just have to touch your database, and I'm using the word database. It doesn't have to be this complicated thing of like a CRM, don't get me wrong, like, I'm here to help you get to command and to do all of that aspect of organizing your database. But if you just take the action today and text somebody, it's that easy, or it can be that easy. All right, I'm gonna switch back. We're gonna go to the traditional golden text that we have here. And Nicole, like, thank you for the feedback. Like, the key thing here is like, when we talk about these messages and we go through this, make it personal.
But do it, don't do call by yourself, but just do it, put the first day with everything after.
Yeah. And this is kind of funny. Hi, everyone, I'm Sam Jackson. I'm the director of technology. Because there's probably a few people that aren't familiar with me. We're just meeting for the first time. We have a couple of guests today. Thank y'all for being here. I really did. No, any photo that's not an AI version of me, we'll take it.
Oh, come on, Sam. You should just start using all those AI photos. I think they're just.
I love them.
So Scott and I found a video AI to where I can just completely replace myself. So we'll see what happens. Be a hologram version of Sam Jackson pretty soon. Just gotta afford it. But we have a couple guests here today, so like I do want to do this again. And gentlemen, if you can, play along with us. Like I'd like you to visit us today and actually like walk away with a listing, whether you join KW or not. I'm that confident that we can do some cool stuff here.
Right. Yeah.
And before I jump in, it's already too late to say this, but in a telephone consumer friendly way, we are not texting people. We don't have permission to text, right? We're not reaching out to people. We don't have permission to text. This is no joke.
You don't want to be that person.
It's a big, you know what, vibe.
And I give Sam Jackson a plug, because he always says I beat him up, but it's not true. I absolutely love his AI class. If you have not taken his AI class, you've got to do it. It helped. If you only learn how to use ChatGPT, is the best thing that you'll ever get for your business.
Amen.
And he has so much to offer. And, you know,
Thank you, Jan.
get your headshots.
Thank you, Jan. All right, so a little bit of this workshop. So for those of you who've done this before, you've seen this before. The goal here is that this is a friendly place. We're going to send some text messages out. So if you're like, hey, Sam, I've seen this before, we're actually adding a few more text messages. Robin and I have talked about a few others we're gonna send out after the fact as well. So we're gonna send out these text messages. I don't want you to respond on your own. This is meant for the next like 25 minutes to be a team sport. So if you get a response to these text messages that we're sending out, I don't care what I'm in the middle of saying, raise your hand and we will respond as a group to make sure that you're going for the kill, you're getting the appointment, and we're doing that in an effective way, okay? Yeah, I think that's it. Done the same thing? Oh, I think we're good. All right, so your first text message, or I guess your second text message, is the golden text. This is the one that gets us the listings. We've had this one several times in which we know that when we send it, we get responses. So if you're thinking like, oh man, the holidays are coming up, or oh gosh, we're starting to talk about goal setting for 2024, and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't do anything for 2023 yet. Here's your chance. Take that stand for yourself today, and I want you to pull out your phone and I want you to text 5 people. And since Jan gave me the plug, we're gonna go with J for Jan. Appreciate you. So scroll down to your phone, open up your J's, and I want you to text this to 5 people. Would you be willing to sell your house to one of our buyers? And then for the love of Pete, do not put Sam Jackson, put your name there. Hate to say it.
You be messed up. You always making a joke saying, oh, I thought you saw some new Sam Jackson movie coming out.
No, do not mess this up. Put your name there. It's not about me.
You could always.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah.
You know, fix it.
Yeah, and I put your name in the report and we still have equal confusion, so like, it's all right, it's all right. I don't think there's a reading level required to get a real estate license, that's not one of the requirements, but no, you're good. But I want you to pull your phone, I want you to go to Jay's, and I don't care if again, it's first name or last name, the goal here is that we're just texting 5 people that we haven't reached out in a long time. That's the magic from the testimonials we got from Stephen, right? It's just that when you send this out, the stuff works. At the very least, the worst thing that we get is a 0 response. A no response is the worst case scenario. Because if they just say, no, thanks, we at least engaged in the real estate conversation today. That's the bare minimum result, is we're engaging and we're reminding people we're going to stay with this touch.
Sam, Steve also sent one that said, oh, we're not interested right now, but thanks for reaching out. So you're not, it's not every one of these are going to convert into something, but again, it's staying in touch with your clients.
That's exactly it. And like, I'm sure not alone with this one, but like, how many of you have like ever like received a text message from somebody and before you even read it, you're like, I don't know who this is. And you scroll back through your text message to find some like context clues. Here's a great one. His number is now associated with real estate. We know who that person is, even if it's not saved in their phone. All right, so I said this is a safe space. What precautions or like what biases, what are your thoughts about saying this? If you're on the fence about not saying this text message, I'd like to talk through that. What are your reservations?
My contacts are in North Carolina, so.
Yeah. Okay. This is Jake?
Yep.
Okay. How do we help Jake out?
Do you have a network of agents that you can refer to and connect them with and?
Yeah.
I would still send it.
That's a good idea.
What's a 25% referral check off of $15,000 commission?
I'll put losing like 2 or 3 probably.
That's a good point. We're in one of the very few industries in which you can just exchange contact information and receive a check for it. Yeah. Passive-ish.
Yeah.
All right, anyone get responses yet? We're still texting.
Still texting.
All right. I need to like add a warm up to thumbs
So-
when we do this.
My biggest limiting belief is sounding stupid when I send these out to somebody who doesn't have a house. So, you know, that's my thing, and I don't personally know 10,000 people.
Right.
They've come to these contacts have come to me over the years. About half of these are probably from my book of insurance business over the years. You know, people have not been weeded out, so I just feel kind of stupid.
So
I had that happen in his class, and it was a good conversation to where now I'm speaking to him about house purchasing. And we started figuring out what he's paying in rent and all that kind of stuff. So you can pass that up to Lorenzo or something.
That's one option. The other thing too is that I'm gonna share, I think, 5 or 6 different examples of text messages. Use a different option. If this one doesn't work because you have that biases of like, hey, I know this person doesn't own a home, or I don't know if they own a home or not. We have different touches you can send out. The goal here is I just want to give you like an arsenal of different text messages that you can keep in your back pocket. You can pull out when you want to use this as a lead gen tactic. So if this particular message doesn't work for you, try this one.
All right, where are you guys at? Who's doing it?
Have your real estate needs changed? Because whether they have a house or not, they probably have some real estate needs. And I'm asking, do you have any questions about the changing real estate market? And this is 2 questions, 1 text. This goes out together. And I want you, again, live in class, because we know whenever I force you to do this, you get results. It's action-based training today. We're gonna do 5 people with the first name or last name of my greatest height person in all the game. Nicole Young. So N for Nicole. That could be first or last name. I don't care how your phone is organized. All right, any reservations about this text message?
Sam, we get an objection from new agents a lot of time, I hear it a lot, where they're saying, I don't want to bother anyone. What would you say about that, or Robin? I get that one a lot from new agents. I don't want to bother them.
So my question is it I usually say, is it call reluctance or is it value deficiency? And you have to ask yourself that gut question first. Is my problem that I feel like I'm making withdrawals and I haven't made a deposit yet into this person? Because that's an easy one to overcome. Because if I'm sending this out to people I don't know, I need to just understand that I'm a real estate agent and I believe in my core that I am a superhero. Like I wear a cape to help people find equity, to create generational wealth and to find new chapters. There's so many great problems that real estate agents solve. You can get over that if you think it's a value problem for yourself first. It's mindset.
I think for me, sorry, a lot of the people on my phone, but I am, sorry.
You're okay.
A lot of people on my phone are people that I work with in the past because this is my second career. And I don't want to reach out to them for the first time saying this. I want to reach out to them and say, how are you doing? How's life? Blah, blah, blah. So I feel like I need to do that before I start.
Say it and then say it. And one text that would say, hey, okay. I hope you're doing well, whatever, and do it in one text.
Still reluctant or no?
Yeah, she's still like.
Voice, like a conversation.
Well, then start it with the,
Started with that.
have a new career, or just
Yeah.
start that, and then how's life with you, how's your career? And then they're eventually, law of reciprocity, if you ask about how they're doing in their career, they're gonna come back to yours, and that's when you can say, great. And then go into.
Okay.
Yeah.
start with how they're doing in their career.
And Ford, I'm gonna give a plug for Bolt. I mean, Ford is where I first heard about this model for Ford. So is there anyone that really just despises scripts? Like no judgment?
Yeah.
I'm not a script person. I'm not. What I love about Ford is really a model for a conversation. It's not necessarily that I have to say it verbatim. Ford is just like an idea that says, hey, we're gonna ask questions about their family, their occupation, their recreation and dreams. It's a guide to go through that conversation without me feeling icky scripty. right? So what I like about this would be, I would just kind of plug into that and just start with like, hey, just want to check in. Honestly, one of the best ways to open up with this is, I was just thinking about you. Something popped on my mind, I just wanted to reach out to you. It's been so long, and I'm opening up into Fort then. How's the family? How's the job or occupation? What are you doing for fun, recreation? What do you hope to do like by the end of the year? Or like, what are your vacations planned for fall break? That's where that dreams comes in. What's great about that, about this model though, is that we identify where people move based on the F and the O, what they're doing with their family and what they're doing with their job. That's the reasons why people move. So I may go just FO and the conversation falls off, but if I'm spending time getting to know them, building a relationship, making that deposit into like our trust, then these real estate things come out. I'm gonna figure out something in their family that's causing a real estate need, and that's gonna come up, and then you can shoot your shot at that point. Or what Nicole was saying was, I asked, like, hey, how's your job? Naturally, people respond with like, well, what do you up to these days? I just got my real estate license, great. And then you have your shot.
You know, it's almost, Garrett, like, you know, what I think a lot of us don't want to do is hit people over the head with just this, I'm a real estate agent, please use me, right? That feels awful, right? We don't want that to feel that way. So family, occupation, even, I've even taken pictures of, you know, where maybe they came to a fall festival or we were hanging out before and we have a picture, and I'll send that picture to them and say, thinking about you. How are you? Missed our days when we did such and such, or whatever that is. And so again, it doesn't have to be this hit them right between the eyes with real estate, because you're depositing and depositing and depositing, right? So for those people that already know that you're in real estate, I would send those texts to them first, and then start nurturing through using family, occupation, recreation, and dreams with that. So, yeah. Go, Jake.
Yeah, I've been in sales a long time. I've only been in real estate for about 2 years, but one of the things that helped me a lot, I used to have to do 80 cold calls a day. It was mandatory by my job. As long as you make it about the person, they love to talk about themselves. Everyone loves to talk about themselves. So you don't have to talk specifically about family or occupation. You can just, anything related to them, and just be quiet, even if it's a call, you know, just ask that question. We're always taught, ask the question, shut up. But yeah, just ask the question and just listen. Don't interrupt them, let them, and whenever they're done talking, you can then kind of go into, oh, well, I've been doing real estate or whatever. And I just, you know, have been thinking about you since, and especially if it's that old coworker, since we used to work together. And, you know, if they taught you anything while you worked with them, that might help you out with this. You can even say, I thought about the one thing you told me that, and I've been applying to this and it's been helping a lot. Just like whatever you can do to kind of hype the other person up and make them feel good about themselves usually helps a lot too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I just want to touch on Ford though, because I agree, you can just talk about anything. What I like about Ford though is that, what I want to point out is the reason why this model is so darn good is that it ties in directly why people move. Now, for those of you who attended class, I'm talking about the 6 Ds, why people move, right? So anyone remember what they are?
Yeah, death, divorce, diamonds.
I'm gonna go in order because I can't jump in. It's diamonds, diapers,
Death.
No, divorce.
Diploma,
debt, diplomas,
employment.
employment. Good job. So if I'm going through Ford and saying, how's the family? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that are attached to that family. Occupation is really deployment, and deployment, you can say technically relocation, if something gets reloaded, right? So if I do use that model, I have a better chance of actually uncovering one of those motivations and people do move for other things than this, but these are the key ones we should always be alert to. That when I hear, oh, somebody's getting engaged or getting married, bingo, right? If somebody's having a baby, we know they need new space. If I know someone's getting divorced, there's a shot for 3 houses. And Greta, my goodness, Greta.
Yeah, she's really
Crushing
nailing
it
that
there.
one.
That
Yeah.
divorce agent, I love that.
Yeah,
Death, diplomas is kind of the empty nester, right? When we know somebody's graduating high school or college, there's more space. That's what kicks off that event with the deployment, which we don't really have a ton here. But
but that's
that at
what's
least
so
kicks that
great
off.
about that too, that right now, you know, to the point that was said earlier about the 3%, he wants to give up 3%, right? So, but
they may have diplomas in the very near future and think, I need to get an investment property so that I can help pay for that. So again, it just kind of ties in to real
It's
estate.
definitely the, because on the actual diplomas, depending on where they're at in the diapers.
You may be
You can-
going, you
You
may be
can get the
going.
investment property and get in a place where you think that the child's gonna go, and then actually it could be their nest egg for the actual college.
True that.
Or their retirement.
I'm not that smart, like, but there's like 3 models that I know that I've learned at KW. This is one of them, right? Like, if you just memorize a few of these things, it'll take over your business. All right, text message number 3. And again, this is just another one you can kind of put in your arsenal, but let's go ahead and text this to our L's for lemons. We were on ours. I'm not sure if it's for you, but there are a handful of homes that I found that are a deal right now. Any interest? And again, if you attended my class, you know this. If you're new, this is borrowing one of the magic phrases from Phil Jones. Phil Jones wrote a book called Exactly What to Say, in which there are 29 or 30 magic phrases. One of the magic phrases is, I'm not sure if it's for you. We're taking away that wall, right? Sometimes when we're too direct with our sales approach, we put up a wall. It's like whenever I walk into Macy's or Dillard's when I'm shopping, say, hey, do you need any help? I need help, but like, I don't want to talk to a salesperson yet.
Guys,
I'm just looking.
This is a magic phrase. I had my team meeting with my team this morning. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I have an expansion team down in Columbus now. And Colin really took to heart this book. You know, I got it for him. And he just took this one phrase from that book. He had 19 appointments last month. I had no idea. He had a goal of 5. He got 19 appointments, most because he had this conversation and it started out just like that. This is just a miracle worker right here.
And this goes back to the, like, if I feel like I'm making a withdrawal instead of deposit, this should help change your mindset, because I'm immediately taking it off the table. Like, I don't know if this is for you. I'm not pushing this on you, but I did feel like I had this obligation to let you know that there are a lot of deals right now. I'd love to share that with you. It's essentially what we're saying here. So
Okay,
pull out your phone, copy this, send it to 5 people with L.
So if
Yes.
they say, yeah, tell me more about it, we just go, if in fact you don't have.
Yeah. So I don't have this, I don't have the slides up, but how many price reductions were there?
200 and something, she said.
Yes.
That's what we're looking at. We're looking at homes that had a price reduction, because we know that once they've had one price reduction, are they gonna go above list price again?
She did 247 price reduction.
So they're 247 in just the area that we target. You could even narrow that down to just like the 12 maybe in Roswell or wherever that you happen to farm. And just share those.
Carly, did you get a response?
I did. I got one that said, this is on the first one we sent out, and I got a response that says, which house? So obviously I went back because I know him, and I'm like, I didn't realize you bought another one. And he has actually 3, but they're already listed, so where do I go from there?
Okay, let's help her out.
You speak of the ones you know about.
I don't know
So-
really about any of them.
Just take his number. Do you have 4 more in the office? Do you have 4 more in the office?
Yeah, oh, hold on. Yeah,
Yeah.
listen up, because this scenario has happened several times. Nicole has a great
Do
solution.
you
to
have
this.
4 more?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so take forewarn, everybody have who has forewarn? I have. Take that number, it's gonna tell you properties that he owns, and literally, when I put my own name in there, it told me the address I had when I was in college. So when you go to forewarn, put forewarn in there, it's gonna tell you everything about him, and then you can get the actual, you can actually see the sale date. So it's almost like you do abstract title right there, and then you can find out what properties, and then you can say, Main Street.
Uh-huh.
But you
But-
say
but
they're
in-
listed already, then you say, well, great, I hope your agent's as good as I would be.
But see if his name is on it, though, looking for a warrant. It's only $6 to you guys, to us now, if there's anybody else $6.
Or be like, great, are you looking to list any more in the next year? Because it sounds like they have some investment properties, or are you looking to buy more?
Or shame on me, I should have reached out sooner. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with in the future. Shame on me, I should have reached out sooner. But is there anything I can help you with in the future? So you're not asking to help with those houses because you're not soliciting.
Right, we're not-
But you're asking to help with anything in the future, and if those listings fail, you're gonna be the first person he calls.
I also like the phrase, how do I earn the right to be the next agent that you're listing with?
Ooh, I like that.
Oh.
No.
How do I earn the right to be the next agent we list with? Because again, just like that magic phrase that we're
I
going
like
through,
that one.
it kind of says like, hey, I'm not directly asking for your business. I'm asking, how do I get the opportunity to interview with you? How do I earn the right is one of the most powerful phrases that I've been not here talking about.
Yeah. He's a pretty smart dude.
Pretty smart dude. Okay,
Got it.
Alright.
Okay, I earned.
how do I earn the right to be the next agent we list with? So again, no matter these text messages that we send out, that's a very likely situation that we're talking about, especially like in Jan's database, there's gonna be 5,000 people that move that she knows. Somebody's gonna be listed, it's gonna be too late. Just ask that question, how do I earn the right to have the shot at the next one? Right? And that's the great way of like not crossing the sign if they're an active listing and yet still building that relationship, even though we missed our
Come back and
opportunity.
ask you can still send the buyers that you have, because that's gonna have some buyers.
Well,
You know, how do you respond to that?
well, you could also just look and say, wait, say that again?
So I am addressing him from the beginning that I have some buyers that, you know, is he willing to sell his home for some buyers that I have
Yeah.
basically? So he's gonna ask me to send me your buyers. I don't have those buyers.
Yes, so what I love about this,
The office.
yes, yeah, so this is why we're very specific, and this is why like I don't like to tweet these messages, because they can get confusing. Would you be willing to sell your house to one of our
Right.
buyers? You belong to a massive team here. And I say massive team at Roswell, but technically, there's a chance no one here at Roswell happens to have a buyer, you have the rest of the Georgia Rising group.
Okay.
Right? Cool.
And
All right.
we've got 4 minutes
All right.
before we have to wrap up.
Y'all know these other ones. I'm gonna go through this last one here. This is a new one. This one requires a little bit of digging first.
But I love this one.
Okay, let me hear.
So this is from Phil Jones. This is not one of his magic phrases, but this is something he shared in private mastermind. If you have their address, take that address and put it into Zillow. Why Zillow? Because gosh darn it, they're familiar with it.
Everybody loves it.
They're familiar with it.
Mhm.
And I did this for my home, so I put in my address, 3445 Gannett Way, just put it in, and it gave me these two prices. I'm just going to take a screenshot of it.
Mhm.
I'm going to text it to them. I'm just gonna say, what are your thoughts on this?
Now, not to overthinking, would you take a screenshot of that and then go to RPR, which are just more accurate, no?
No.
Because they're familiar with Zillow and Estimate. They see the Zillow commercials on Sunday football,
They don't know our.
right?
Understand.
Right. And the goal here is that we want them off. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And yet the goal here is that they're familiar with Zillow. They trust Zillow despite the reality of that.
So Jake Hepson put this out, has put it out a few times. Last
Yeah.
week, put it out this past Friday again about the Zillow text,
Yeah.
which is this.
This-
So he adds to it, what are your thoughts? We know Zillow is 5 to 10% off. So you're not saying how it's.
There you go, then we can bring on our.
And that's
Bam,
what
go
he
ahead,
adds
Diana.
to it.
Mhm.
We all know Zillow is at least 5 to 10% off.
I got it. Oh, wow.
Do you remember when Zillow was plus or minus 38%?
I think we used to be a lot more.
I got it, oh, wow, I said, I did I'm sorry,
There you
that
go.
was so rude, my.
You were so excited about the response. No matter what. Family here.
Amika, he told you to interrupt.
Interrupt me. You have our attention now. Oh, wow, what? Let's go, come on.
So I did I'm not sure if it's for you, but I came across a handful of deals
Okay.
or whatever, and, I said, hey, let me know. I know your hubby said you might be interested in the deal. She said, oh, wow, okay, let me tell her.
Okay.
That's good.
Nice.
So we need one more. We need that conversation to keep going, right? And we haven't had the opportunity because we didn't have a lot of responses today, and yet, I'll share this just in case it's on fresh ears. Our goal is that we're always finding a reason to meet. So at some point, I'm pulling out this at my back pocket, I'm saying, sounds like we should meet. I'm pulling out that phrase as often as possible, as many times as I can, because it doesn't matter what they say. There's a reason why we should meet. If we're gonna have any type of conversations about real estate here or North Carolina or wherever, it sounds like we should meet. If I send them about selling their house, they don't have a house, it sounds like we should meet. Right? So use that one as your responses and go for the kill, set up the appointment. And again, like I mentioned, build off of this. These are all foundational things, build off of this. If there's things that you want to add on like your type of closing style, go for it. And I'll stick around if you guys have any questions, but I'll make sure that I'm respectful of time. Robin's always generous of letting me have as much space as I need here.
I appreciate, how many of you appreciate that? All right, before we go, we've got a couple of awards we need to give out. Can I table you to next week?
Yeah.
Thank you. So sorry about that. September 2023 awards, top 20. Okay. Okay, ready? Drum roll. Mark Ellsworth, Tatum McCurdy, Kim Wynn, Renee Bissell, Roxy Michael Hernandez, Tom and Joanne, John Serrano, Jamie Simpson, Sarah Sloan, Peggy Connors.
It's just the top.
Okay, we got our top 10. Hello, top 10, everybody. That's about to be next week. You guys, I hope you got a lot of value from this. Remember, continue your text messaging because it's all about the number of touches and conversations. Don't overthink this. It's just a conversation.
Were you doing the drawing for the registrants for both?
We are doing that next week. Yeah, next week. So next week, we're gonna be drawing, drawing from the first registration. And next week, listing contest. Listing contest, the rewards, you guys are gonna be able to auction. So that's gonna be really fun next week because
Can we do it via Zoom?
we needed to let everybody have everything through September 30th. Well, September 30th was a Saturday. So we've got to make sure that everything was in command and approved. Remember, that was one of the rules. Listings had to be in command and approved in command. So we had to give you guys plenty of time to get that done. So anyway, we'll see you guys next week. You won't see me, you'll see Julie next week. And so you guys have a great, is it next week or the week after? I think it's the week after that you're doing it. I'm here next week.
She can do it next week.
I can do it both weeks.
I know you could. You're awesome. And yes, stay for the class today. I already promoted it. So stay for the class for this lovely lady and Brian here. So aren't you guys have a great week.